I am here with Dr. Thida. She's from Myanmar, a very prominent writer, former political prisoner, and she's going to talk a little bit about Myanmar's government, how it came to be, and also the situation of human rights in the country currently.
Hi. Since 1948, we got independence from British after 100 years of the British colony. But since then, we have a civil war among the ethnic groups to having kind of the identity-based sovereignty and having a federal state, but it was not. But the key players behind all these struggles in these years was the Myanmar military. Myanmar military tried to consolidate its power and to control everything. So it was several kind of the coup attempt. It was the very first time was in 1962 and then in 1988 and then again in 2021. We do have a very brief sort of democracy for 10 years between 2011 and 2021, but the actual administrative handed over power to the actual dissidents or the pro-democracy. It was only 5 years time from 2015 to 2021. The last coup, 2021, by the current military commander-in-chief was very bad, and it made us in very desperate situation because it arrested the president, the state councillor Aung San Suu Kyi, and all the chief leaders of the National League for Democracy, key Democratic Party. And then we have a very peaceful protest by the people who couldn't accept the argument by the military. Its argument is the voters' fraud, something like that, but it was not. Even for the international election monitoring institutions already declared that there was no such thing, but the military unilaterally it's even violated the 2008 constitution, which is introduced by the military, but it's very undemocratic. We were against it, but they still used this constitution and violated all the human rights. So since then, we have a very brief period of the peaceful protest, but with the very brutal crackdown by the military, till now, within these 4+ years, it's almost 10,000 civilians has been killed, and more than 25,000 civilians has been arrested, and at least 3.6 million people are internally displaced because of the fierce fighting on the ground. And after these 4+ years, the oppositions, we call the Spring Revolutionists, the group of the Spring Revolutionists under the title of so many different ethnic or the other armed forces can control right now, it's more or less the half of the country. And since the coup military lost its power, or more or less half of the country, their weapon is the aerial bombardment. So they targeted the civilians. They used the arson attack to the so many villages on the ground. They also make the flight and the bombing. So you can imagine, until now, they bombed more than 15,000 airstrikes already. For that reason, the whole country was devastated, and they also changed a lot of the rules and regulations, and including some laws without having any parliaments yet, but they just used the executive order to change the laws. For example, like the privacy law, like cyber security law, everything. They make the harder allegation to the civilians' life. And on top of that, they also control the internet. Without the VPN, the people cannot use the social media. And on top of that, they also try to check the personal the handful, whether this civilians is supporting them or not, something like that. Based on that, they arrested people, and for example, like one of the editors of the newspaper, he simply changed his profile picture to simply black because he shows the sympathy to the victims of the area bombardment by the military, and then he was arrested. He got arrested. So that kind of human rights violation has been going on right now. And recently we got information that Aung San Suu Kyi, we still don't know where she's about, where she was kept, either inside the prison or somewhere else. We don't know. Normally she was arrested under house arrest, but this time after 2021 we have no idea. She was sentenced for more than 30 years, and right now she's just over 80 years old, and recently we got the information she is critically ill and thought to be having the heart problems, and is thought to be no treatment. So this is the current situation right now, and it's very hard to survive as ordinary people, and there is no civil liberties on the ground, and there is no freedom of movement. And recently you might notice about the very heavy earthquake in March this year in at least 7 cities of the country. But even after that, they didn't do any rescue effort or the rehabilitation effort. They just simply call to having the aids to the country, but when they got the aids, they use up for the weapons to kill the civilians. But right now, the Chinese government, Russian government are supporting the military to consolidate its power by threatening and destroying the Spring Revolution movement. And we do have a national unity government. This is the kind of the front line defender for the Spring Revolutionary, but the acceptance from the international community is not very effectively practical for us. So the common civilians people are so much desperate. The economy is so going down since the military was failing almost every single fight on the ground. They recently introduced the conscription law more than a year ago. Since then, they recruited arbitrarily all the youths from the ground to the military to fight against the revolutionaries. So a lot of the young people, they simply left the country, and they also tried to stop them leaving the country. So the situation inside was pretty critical right now, and we truly need the international community's awareness, attention, and the effective support to make our fight win.